What if the man everyone mocked, the one they thought was broken, turned out to be the strongest among them all? What if the single father struggling with scars of war, ridiculed by parents, teachers, and even bosses, carried within him a hidden gift that would change his life and his daughter's forever? Stay with me till the end, because this is not just about humiliation and laughter. It's about how a single dad veteran, armed with nothing but a bow, his daughter's love, and his unshakable will, turned the whole world's laughter into standing ovations and won the heart of a CEO who never believed in love. Mark Thompson walked into the crowded school gymnasium gripping his daughter Emily's small hand. His army boots were worn out, his jacket frayed, and his face carried the lines of battles fought both overseas and at home. He wasn't just a veteran. He was a widower, a man raising his little girl alone after losing his wife to illness while he was still serving. That day was Parents' Talent Day, a school event where mothers and fathers showcased hobbies, skills, or even funny acts to entertain the children. Parents filled the room in bright clothes, some holding guitars, others preparing magic tricks, and a few setting up baking stands. Mark stood quietly at the back, ignored, his presence drawing subtle whispers. "Look at him," one parent muttered. "He can't even dress properly for his daughter's school." Another whispered, "Single dad, probably living off the system." A third laughed under their breath. Mark kept his head down, not for himself but for Emily. She looked up at him with her big brown eyes full of trust, squeezing his hand. He had promised her he would participate today, no matter how nervous he felt. When it was his turn, Mark stepped onto the stage with nothing but a simple, old wooden bow and a set of arrows wrapped in cloth. The gym erupted in laughter. Archery. In a school event? Does he think he's Robin Hood? Hope he doesn't shoot the ceiling. Even some of the teachers giggled, unable to hide their doubt. Emily's face flushed red, tears threatening, but she stayed seated, whispering, "You can do it, Dad." Mark took a deep breath, blocking out the noise. His hands trembled slightly, not from fear, but from memories of the battlefield, where archery had been his therapy after his return. He had been a decorated soldier, yes, but also a national archery champion before enlisting. That part of his life was buried deep, hidden behind pain and survival. He knocked an arrow, aimed at a distant target the school had set up, and released. The arrow split the bullseye clean through. Gasps replaced laughter. Then another arrow perfectly dead center. Then a third, splitting the second arrow in half. The room fell silent. What began as ridicule turned into stunned awe. Parents who had mocked him earlier now sat frozen. Emily's face lit up with pride, tears running down her cheeks, whispering, "That's my dad." But just as the applause began to rise, one sharp voice cut through. "Parlor tricks won't pay bills or raise a child. He's still just a broken veteran." The words stung, but Mark stood tall. He didn't need to defend himself, not yet. Life would do it for him. Chapter 2 The Turning Point. News of Mark's performance spread beyond the gym. Videos went viral online. Single dad veteran stuns crowd with archery skills. Some mocked him still, but many admired him. What caught the attention of millions, however, was Emily's tiny voice in the clip saying, "That's my dad, my hero." Among those who saw it was Claire Donovan, the CEO of a major sports equipment company. She had built her empire on innovation but secretly carried her own emptiness. A woman who had wealth, power, and recognition, but no family, no one who saw her as more than a boss. Claire invited Mark for a meeting, curious not only about his archery but about the strength she saw in his humility. When Mark walked into her glass-walled office in his simple jacket and nervous smile, the staff whispered, wondering why their glamorous CEO would meet a man who looked so ordinary. "Mr. Thompson," Claire began, "your archery went viral. I don't just see a skill. I see a story. Discipline, precision, resilience. I want you to lead a youth program we're starting to inspire children through archery." Mark hesitated. "Mom, I'm just a dad trying to make ends meet. I don't think I fit the picture." But Claire leaned forward, her eyes softening. "That's exactly why you fit. Kids don't need perfection, they need someone real." He accepted. Slowly, his life began to change. Teaching children archery gave him purpose. Emily beamed with pride each time she saw her dad guiding other kids. The very people who once mocked him now brought their children to learn under him. And Claire, she found herself drawn not to his skill but to the way he lived. With integrity, with quiet strength, with unconditional love for his daughter. Her boardrooms and luxury homes suddenly felt emptier compared to the warmth of Mark's small apartment filled with laughter and bedtime stories. But challenges remained. Some executives resisted, calling Mark unqualified. Parents still whispered about his past. And Mark himself wrestled with insecurity, believing he could never be good enough for someone like Claire. Until one evening after a youth archery showcase, Claire stood beside him watching Emily proudly show her medals. The CEO, The woman admired by thousands turned to him and whispered, "The world laughed at you, but I see the champion in you. Not just in archery, in life. And I think I'm falling for you." Mark's breath caught. For the first time in years he felt seen, not as a soldier, not as a widower, not as a man broken, but as a father, a teacher, a human being worthy of love. The man everyone laughed at rose not because he wanted revenge, but because he chose resilience over bitterness. His hidden gift, once ridiculed, became his greatest strength. And in the end, the single dad veteran showed the world, and himself, that true victory isn't about medals or applause, but about love, purpose, and never giving up on yourself. Never underestimate the quiet ones, the ones you laugh at, the ones you think are broken. Because sometimes, they're not just survivors. They're champions waiting for their moment.